XX was at Riva Motorsports in Florida looking for a new bike. As he pulled out in his black BMW, a Dodge SUV blocked him. Two men jumped out, one with a mask, one with a gun. X tried to fight, but in seconds, shots rang out. No security, no time. He was just 20. The killers took a Louis Vuitton bag and left a legend fading in the driver's seat.
Welcome back to Buzz Buster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily videos. Michael Boatwright, Robert Allen, and the men tied to the 2018 killing of Tentacion became central figures in one of hip-hop's most closely watched criminal cases. Among them, Robert Allen eventually took a plea deal, cooperated with investigators, and testified against the others. By the time he was released from prison in October 2023, he had already delivered the clearest inside version of what happened from the people riding in that Dodge Journey. His statements gave police, prosecutors, and jurors a far more detailed picture than they had ever heard before. What Allen described came at a price for everyone connected to the case.
Robert Allen, who took a plea deal in XXXTentacion's murder case, gets 7 years in prison. But since he's already served 7 years, what do you guys think about this?
It began on June 18, 2018. Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, known worldwide as XXXTentacion, stopped at a Bank of America in South Florida and withdrew about $50,000 in cash. The money was placed in a Louis Vuitton bag. From there, he drove to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida, a dealership that sells motorcycles and personal watercraft. Inside his black BMW i8, Onfroy was not alone. Riding with him in the passenger seat was his step-uncle, Leonard Kerr. At just 20 years old, the rapper was at the dealership looking at motorcycles. He never returned. By that point, Onfroy was already impossible to ignore. Earlier in the year, he had been dominating headlines not only because of his music, but also because of the legal issues surrounding him. His debut album had recently been released, and his audience followed him constantly online.
In 2016, he was arrested and charged robbery assault with a deadly weapon. While out on bail, he was arrested again in October, aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, witness tampering.
Every appearance drew attention. Even the kind of car he drove was the sort of detail fans recognized instantly. That visibility made him one of the most watched young stars in music. It also meant his movements were easier to track than most people realized. His identity wasn't hard to trace. Instagram had made his routines visible, and months earlier, a man at a probation office had noticed him, remembered him, and held on to that recognition. Around that same period, 4 men from Fort Lauderdale were riding through South Florida in a rented black Dodge Journey SUV. According to investigators, they were carrying guns and masks and were looking for someone to rob. The group consisted of Dedrick Devonshea Williams, Michael Cheryl Boatwright, Trayvon DeMarcus Newsom, and Robert Allen. 3 of them were 22 years old: Williams, Boatwright, and Allen. Newsom was the youngest at 20, the exact same age as the man they were about to target. Williams, known as Chucky, had a criminal record that included arrests for grand theft auto, burglary, assault, and cocaine possession. At the time, he was on probation and working as a tattoo artist. He was also a father of 4. More importantly, Williams was behind the wheel of the SUV that day. He was the one who spotted the BMW i8 parked at Riva. That moment mattered. He had seen Onfroy before at a probation office, and he also recognized the car from Instagram. Once he noticed it, he alerted the others. What happened next showed how quickly that recognition turned into action. Williams reportedly pulled up Onfroy's Instagram on his phone and compared what he was seeing in real time, connecting the vehicle in the parking lot to the public posts he had already seen online. In that instant, a casual memory and an easily searchable social media trail became part of something far more serious. They matched the car in the picture to the one sitting in the parking lot. An exit slip confirmed it. Before anyone even stepped outside, the group believed they had identified the right vehicle. Their own ride had been rented just one day earlier. According to later testimony, renting a car to carry out robberies was Dietrich Williams' idea. A woman named Tony Robinson was used to help secure it, since Allen was the only person with a valid driver's license and had to be the one behind the wheel. What came next was not some detailed operation with a strict target and careful planning.
Rapper XXXTentacion was ambushed while visiting a motorcycle dealership in Florida. A black SUV pulled up, two men got out, approached his car, and shot him through the window.
Allen later described it as loose, broad, and improvised. The idea was simple: drive around, look for an opportunity, and rob either Uber drivers or anyone who seemed vulnerable. That morning, they were not specifically searching for XXXTentacion. Their goal was far more random. They had gone out intending to find anyone. Each of the four expected to be carrying a weapon. Masks were also part of the plan. Allen had a Springfield .40 caliber handgun. Newsom carried a Smith & Wesson .38 revolver. Williams had his own .38 revolver, one described as having a distinctive hammer, bow, and trigger. Boatwright was armed with a short-barreled .22 caliber rifle. Everything shifted once the Dodge Journey reached Dixie Highway. Williams spotted the BMW. At that point, the choice to rob Onfroy was never formally announced. No one needed to say it outright. The moment itself was enough. Then, Williams turned to Allen. Boatwright and Newsom wanted confirmation, so they sent Allen inside to make sure the person was really there. They also told him to go in with Williams so he could hear it straight from the source. Allen did as he was told. Once inside, he passed Frey, who was shopping with Kerr. Allen later said he did not think Onfroy noticed him at all. At the counter, Williams purchased 2 black neoprene masks. Nothing about that moment looked rushed, but the tension was already building. Afterward, they returned to the SUV, where all 3 were back inside the vehicle. Allen immediately objected. In his view, the plan was already falling apart because he and Williams had been caught on the store's security cameras. That alone, he warned them, was a bad idea. For a moment, Boatwright and Newsom seemed unsure. Their hesitation did not last. Williams challenged them, asking if they were afraid. That changed the mood. Boatwright responded with words along the lines of, "All right, we're going to get him." Newsom agreed. Allen still refused to take part any further. Since he had already appeared on camera, he would not step back out. Boatwright and Newsom then pulled on masks and hoodies, while Williams remained behind the wheel. Next, the Dodge Journey crossed the street and parked. What happened after that became one of the most striking pieces of evidence shown in court. The group sat there for 8 minutes and 35 seconds. No movement, no confusion, just waiting. Surveillance footage captured that entire pause. During trial, lead prosecutor Pascal Akil played the video for the jury without saying a word and let the full 8 minutes and 35 seconds run in silence. The point was unmistakable.
You turned a robbery into a murder. And on that day, when you stood there and fired that weapon, you didn't just end one life. You effectively ended 5 lives. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. From here, you will go and be placed in a cell.
The stillness itself was presented as evidence of premeditation. Here's how prosecutors say it unfolded moment by moment. As Onfroy and Kerr left the dealership and climbed into the BMW, Williams made his move. He drove the Dodge Journey forward and cut off the BMW, leaving no clear path out. Within seconds, Boatwright and Newsom jumped out and rushed the vehicle. Boatwright went straight to the driver's side holding a rifle, aiming it directly at Onfroy through the window. At the same time, Newsom came up on that side and tried to rip away Onfroy's gold chain, but he failed to remove it. Instead of stopping there, he circled around to the passenger side and got into the BMW. Inside, Newsom took the Louis Vuitton bag holding $50,000. Kerr, who was in the passenger seat, had been told not to move. He didn't stay there. Rather than remain in the car, he ran down the road and got away. He survived. Once Newsom returned with the bag, the robbery itself was already over. Only after that did 3 shots strike Onfroy in the neck. 2 of the bullets stayed inside his body, while another broke apart. The rounds damaged the upper portion of his left lung and grazed his aorta. Investigators said Onfroy was not armed. They also found no indication that he had reached for anything before the shots were fired. By that point, the bag had already been taken.
The trial for the 3 men accused of murdering XXXTentacion has begun, and this newly released surveillance video shows him withdrawing $50,000 just hours before his death. The 20-year-old was shot and killed during an armed robbery in 2018. The suspects are being charged with first-degree murder and have pled not guilty.
Onfroy was later pronounced dead at Broward Health North Hospital at 4:51 p.m. EDT. Afterward, all 4 men sped away in the Dodge Journey. During the escape, the vehicle crashed, but they still managed to leave the scene and continue their flight. They eventually returned to Allen's place on 17th Court, while Williams headed off in an Uber. Once they were back at the house, the bag was opened and the money inside was divided into 4 shares. Williams, Boatwright, and Newsom each walked away with $15,000. Allen, who had remained in the car, got $5,000 instead. Boatwright reportedly felt Allen hadn't done enough to earn the same amount as the others. After that, Boatwright and Newsom left with the firearms. They also took the Louis Vuitton bag, the bank deposit slips, and the key fob to Frey's car. Nothing important was left behind. During the drive back from Riva, they had already seen on their phones that Frey had died. What happened next would only draw more attention. Phone activity from that day and the day after helped document the group's behavior. Videos recorded on their cell phones and later shared on social media showed Williams, Boatwright, and Newsom flashing stacks of $100 bills, celebrating, smiling, and dancing for the camera. The timing made it even more striking. Just hours after the shooting, those clips were already appearing online. Then, 48 hours later, Dedrick Williams was taken into custody during a traffic stop in Pompano Beach. Investigators noticed he was still wearing orange sandals and a white tank top, the exact same outfit seen earlier in the Riva security footage, and also visible in photos and videos from his own Instagram posts that day. He hadn't even changed clothes. The posts were still up. Those details became impossible to ignore. Boatwright was later arrested on July 5th on separate charges. While already being held on drug charges, he was officially served with a murder warrant 5 days later, on July 10th. Robert Allen was captured in Georgia on July 26th, more than a month after the crime. Investigators said he had gone there with Boatwright before the two eventually separated and went different ways. Next came Trayvon Newsom, who surrendered at his lawyer's office on August 7th. With that, he became the 4th and final suspect taken into custody. Prosecutors charged all 4 men with first-degree premeditated murder and armed robbery with a firearm. A grand jury formally indicted them in July 2018. By that point, law enforcement had already assembled a remarkably detailed timeline. Surveillance footage documented the case almost from beginning to end, starting when Williams entered the dealership and continuing until the SUV vanished down the road. Detectives also had evidence showing the group purchasing masks. They had proof placing them in the parking lot. They had the confrontation. They had the escape.
Even with all of that, one crucial piece was still missing. Video could show what happened, but it could not fully explain the decisions behind it. Investigators still needed the story from inside the vehicle. Who made the plan? Who gave directions? What was said? and why everything unfolded the way it did. That missing perspective mattered because this was not a robbery that spiraled in the heat of the moment. The theft itself was already over, yet a 20-year-old was still left dead in the driver's seat. For prosecutors, the clearest path to the truth had to come from someone who was actually there. Someone inside that Dodge during every key moment. That person was Robert Allen. On paper, Allen appeared to be the least aggressive presence among the men in that vehicle, yet his account would become one of the most important pieces of the entire case. He never stepped inside the store. He remained in the car, accepted the smaller cut of the cash, and had already said before the robbery that the whole plan was a mistake. Even so, those details did not clear him.
When you load up out of his house from Pompano to go, who's driving the journey?
Chucky.
Okay, where are you sitting?
Right behind him.
Right behind him. And who's in the front passenger seat?
Boat ride or trip. I don't remember which one.
He had identified Frey inside the store, helped organize the rental car arrangements, took $5,000 afterward, and stayed silent when police were looking for answers. Prosecutors understood exactly what that meant. He was not blameless, but he was valuable. If Allen chose to tell the entire truth, his account could become the key piece of evidence needed to lock in 3 first-degree murder convictions. The challenge was getting him to fully open up. That task fell to Detective John Curcio, known as Mongolia, inside an interrogation room in Broward County that Allen would later say triggered his claustrophobia. That interview would eventually spread widely online, drawing intense attention. At first, it sounds routine. The recording begins the way many official statements do. The oath, the introductions, the acknowledgement that Allen's attorney is present. Nothing about those opening moments hints at how important the conversation is about to become. Curcio does not rush. Instead, he works carefully, step by step, returning to the very start of the story. He traces the timeline from the beginning, calmly rebuilding each decision and each movement. Over the next 30 minutes, the interview turns into a slow, deliberate excavation of the truth. Allen does not fully commit at first. His answers come wrapped in hesitation, softened with phrases like, "I think," as if distance from the details might protect him. Curcio keeps pressing, not aggressively, but with patience and precision. Piece by piece, the version Allen is trying to hold together starts to weaken. What emerges is not a simple denial, but the outline of a witness whose words could change everything. Pressed for real details, Curcio keeps pushing Allen every time his story slips. His point is simple. If the small parts don't add up, the bigger claims become almost impossible to trust. From there, the pressure builds. Curcio tells him investigators already have fingerprints tied to the vehicle. Surveillance footage, he says, also places him at the Driftwood apartment complex and shows him getting into the journey. On top of that, Chucky Williams has already shared his own account.
They stole his Louis Vuitton bag with around $50,000 inside and fled. XXXTentacion died at the scene. 4 suspects were later arrested and brought to trial. He died at the peak of his fame, but his music still echoes in millions of hearts.
With those pieces on the table, Allen gradually starts talking. Slowly, a fuller timeline begins to emerge. He explains that Williams arranged the rental and that Tony Robinson's name was used on the app because the others weren't able to do it themselves. After that, he describes going to Chucky's house before heading to Riva. He recalls the group sitting around watching TV, along with the discussion about masks. Next, Allen walks through the drive up Dixie Highway toward the dealership. According to Allen, it was Williams who first noticed the BMW and said it was him. Allen says he was then told to go inside and make sure. As his statement continues, he identifies the weapons, says the guns were at Chucky's house, and confirms who was carrying which one. The account becomes even more specific when he reaches the parking lot. He says that was the moment Williams said to rob Onfroy for his jewelry, including bracelets, necklaces, and rings. Allen also describes the discussion inside the car, where he said it was a bad idea, but no one paid attention. By this stage, the interview has shifted completely. What started with vague denials is now turning into a detailed version of events, piece by piece, with Allen describing the group's return to his house and the aftermath that followed. Bundles of cash counted out in piles of $10,000, the division of the money,
What happened in the minutes right after? Even the drive back from Riva took on a different weight once the shock of it all began to sink in. That interview handed investigators the outline of a confession. Years later, the plea agreement would force Allen to fill in every missing detail. On August 12, 2022, Allen admitted guilt to second-degree murder and armed robbery with a firearm. In return, prosecutors dropped the first-degree premeditated murder count, the count that carried a mandatory life sentence. The deal came with one major condition: complete cooperation and truthful testimony at the trial of Williams and Boatwright. Allen knew exactly what that meant. One day, he would have a chance to leave prison. The others would not.
Robert Allen, one of the suspects charged with XXXTentacion, who has taken a plea deal, has been released from prison after 7 years, nearly 7 years. Now he's on a 20-year probationary period on his supervised release. If he does anything, he'll go in there and serve a very long time.
The joint trial began on February 7, 2023 in Broward County Circuit Court, with Judge Michael A. Usan presiding. Just 1 day later, on February 8, 2023, Allen took the witness stand. He stayed there through February 13th, delivering 4 days of testimony that gave prosecutors something surveillance video alone never could: context.
Video had captured 2 masked people near a car. What it could not show was who was actually behind those coverings. Allen gave the jury those identities. His testimony walked jurors through the moments leading up to the crime. He explained what was discussed inside the car, how the group chose to wait, and how, according to him, Williams was the one directing the operation from start to finish. From the driver's seat, Allen said, he had a clear view of how the plan came together and how quickly everything unfolded. Piece by piece, his account turned silent footage into a full narrative, connecting the movements on screen to the people prosecutors said were responsible. Prosecutors presented a clear and damaging sequence. In their version, Boatwright and Newsom deliberately prepared themselves, moved in to trap the BMW, and stepped out with striking speed. Allen's testimony was used to reinforce that storyline piece by piece. According to Allen, Boatwright approached the driver's side window carrying a rifle. At the same time, Newsom focused first on the chain, then on the bag. After taking it, Newsom went back toward the SUV with the bag in hand. Only then, Allen said, the gunfire began, and he made it clear he saw no provocation before it happened. His account was direct. While the bag was being taken, shots rang out. Allen identified Michael Boatwright as the person who fired them. He told the jury Boatwright pulled the trigger 2 or 3 times. He also said Onfroy was positioned on the left side of the vehicle during the encounter. From start to finish, Allen estimated the entire incident lasted around 3 minutes. The testimony did not stop there. Allen said that as the group drove away from Riva, they learned Onfroy had died. In that moment, he testified, Boatwright turned up the music. Defense lawyers attacked that account relentlessly. For days, they worked to tear apart Allen's credibility. They described him as a 12-time felon. They painted him as someone who had built a life around dishonesty. Their argument was simple. Allen was protecting himself, not telling the truth. Another major point of attack was the timeline of his statements. Defense attorneys argued that his story shifted between his 2018 interrogation and his 2023 trial testimony, suggesting he changed key details to better fit the prosecution's case.
Spend every hour, and every day, and every week, and every year of your life in that cell. And one day, they'll come and open up that cell in the morning, and you'll have passed on. And only on that day will you have served your sentence.
Boatwright's attorney pushed especially hard, zeroing in on every inconsistency, every softened answer, and every moment of uncertainty in an effort to convince the jury Allen could not be trusted. Allen didn't break under pressure. Instead, he openly acknowledged something most people in his position would try to hide. He hoped his cooperation might lead to a reduced sentence. On top of that, he even admitted he wasn't someone anyone would normally describe as trustworthy. Still, he made another point just as clearly. Yes, he wanted leniency, but he also said he felt genuine regret. From his perspective, sitting in court and watching people cry had affected him. He said he was trying, in whatever way he could, to help bring justice to Onfroy's family, friends, and fans. For the defense, that created a serious problem. Allen's account wasn't standing alone. Nearly every detail he described could be tested against the physical evidence. More importantly, the evidence lined up. DNA taken from the black neoprene masks bought at Reba and later used in the robbery was linked to Dedrick Williams. According to forensic analyst Nicole Ignat of the Broward County Crime Lab, the statistical probability of that match happening by chance was rarer than 1 in 831 octillion. A second mask contained DNA tied to Boatwright, with odds even more extreme, rarer than 1 in 929 nonillion. The digital evidence pointed in the same direction. Boatwright's phone registered at Riva at the exact time of the shooting. Records also showed that his phone had been paired through Bluetooth with the rented Dodge Journey. Investigators found another detail that was hard to ignore. A box of .22 caliber ammunition recovered from Boatwright's home was missing exactly 4 rounds. Taken together, the testimony, the forensic analysis, and the phone data formed a picture that was difficult to dismiss. Whatever doubts the defense wanted to raise, the prosecution had more than just Allen's words. They had evidence that appeared to confirm them, point by point. The number matched the rounds used in the attack on Onfroy. Investigators also recovered a separate .22 caliber bullet from Williams' home. Another key detail tightened the case. Boatwright's fingerprints were lifted from the outside of the driver's door on Onfroy's BMW. His phone records added even more scrutiny, showing searches for both XXXTentacion and accessory to murder. After the shooting, testimony from Williams' then-girlfriend, Tanel Carter, became a major turning point. Speaking on her own, she told jurors Williams admitted he had planned the robbery and the killing. According to her, he later tried to pressure her into signing a false affidavit that would claim he was not the getaway driver. She would not do it. Tension inside the courthouse only added to the drama. During trial transport, a Broward sheriff's deputy witnessed Trayvon Newsom shouting at Allen in the holding cells. Newsom called him a police informant, labeled him a sellout, and accused him of siding with the white man. Allen later described the confrontation from the witness stand, and that exchange quickly became one of the most talked about moments of the entire trial.
Defense attorneys also attempted to raise an alternate theory involving rapper Drake. Their argument pointed to a public feud from years earlier between Drake and Onfroy as a possible motive. Investigators rejected that idea, and witnesses did the same. Allen was direct in his account. No outside figure played any role. He said the incident was simply a robbery that happened in the moment, not part of any larger plot. By that stage, the prosecution's narrative was becoming harder to ignore. Physical evidence, digital traces, witness testimony, and courtroom behavior were all lining up in a way that drew intense attention from everyone following the case. There was no outside force steering this case. Inside the jury room, the focus stayed on the evidence, and one request made that crystal clear. Jurors asked to review nearly 1,200 text messages taken from the defendants' phones. Their discussions stretched across 8 days and lasted more than 27 hours in total. As the days passed, people online began wondering whether the panel might be deadlocked. Even so, many legal analysts said the timeline made sense. This was not a simple case. There were 3 defendants, each with separate legal representation and a mountain of evidence that had to be sorted carefully, piece by piece. Those text messages alone would have taken hours to read and evaluate. Rather than signaling problems for the prosecution, the lengthy deliberations suggested something else entirely. The jury appeared to be handling the decision with extreme care, giving each detail the attention it deserved before reaching a conclusion. That decision finally arrived on March 20th, 2023. When the jurors returned to the courtroom, they delivered a sweeping verdict: guilty. All 3 defendants were convicted on every count, including first-degree murder and armed robbery with a firearm.
3 men were just sentenced to life in prison for the 2018 murder of XXXTentacion. A Broward County judge handed down the mandatory life sentences to Dedrick Williams, Michael Boatwright, and Trayvon Newsom. The late rapper's manager read a statement at the sentencing saying that XXXTentacion never got to meet a son who was born after the killing.
One moment in the courtroom immediately stood out. As the verdict was being read, Michael Boatwright looked toward Onfroy's family in the gallery and blew a kiss, a gesture that drew instant attention in an already tense room. A little over 2 weeks later, on April 6, 2023, sentencing day arrived. The 3 men stood before Judge Michael A. Usan,
waiting to learn how much of their future had just disappeared. In the end, the outcome was identical for all of them. No differences, no lighter result for one over another. For Trayvon Newsome and Dedrick Williams, the sentence was life in prison. The punishment was automatic. No parole, no flexibility. By the time it was announced, the outcome felt less like a debate and more like the final step in a calculation that had been decided long before anyone entered the courtroom. For Michael Boatwright, the consequences were even more severe. Prosecutors identified him as the man who fired the shots, and he had already drawn outrage for blowing a kiss toward the victim's family. His sentence reflected that. He received 2 back-to-back life terms without the possibility of parole, along with another 30 years added on consecutively. Judge Usan addressed him directly, and the message was unmistakable. In the judge's words, Boatwright had taken a robbery and turned it into a murder. He said that the moment Boatwright stood there and pulled the trigger, he did not only bring one life to an end, he devastated 5 lives, including his own. The judge went further, painting a stark picture of what that future would look like. He told Boatwright that the rest of his life would be spent inside a prison cell with a stainless steel slab fixed to the wall for a bed, beside a stainless steel sink and a stainless steel toilet. He said that one day, guards would open that cell in the morning and find that Boatwright had died there, and only then would his sentence truly be complete. Throughout all of it, Boatwright showed no visible reaction. He sat there, expressionless as the words landed. Then, just 6 weeks later, on May 17, 2023, Robert Allen appeared in that same courtroom to learn his own fate. By that point, everyone in the room knew they were about to hear another major chapter in a case that had already stunned the public. What set him apart was something the other 3 never truly offered: real recognition of the harm caused, spoken directly to the people who suffered because of it. Standing before the court, Allen didn't try to dodge responsibility. He told the judge that if prison was where his actions led him, he accepted that outcome. He said he understood the risk he had taken, asked for justice to be carried out, and pleaded for forgiveness. Judge Usan pointed to that statement as a sign of genuine remorse, something the court had not seen from the 3 men sentenced earlier. That distinction mattered. It changed the tone of the hearing and helped explain why his outcome looked different. The judge also emphasized that Allen's cooperation extended beyond this case. According to the court, he supplied information that helped establish probable cause in an unrelated ZMF gang cold case homicide investigation. Prosecutors added that by assisting authorities and speaking against gang affiliates, he had placed himself in serious danger. Before the plea deal was officially approved, Onfroy's family was consulted. They agreed to the arrangement, a detail that carried enormous weight as the case moved towards sentencing.
In the end, Allen received a 7-year prison sentence. However, he was also credited for the roughly 4 years, 9 months, and 21 days he had already spent in pretrial detention. Once that time was subtracted, only about 2 years remained. By that stage, the punishment was, for all practical purposes, nearly complete. The long wait before trial had already consumed the bulk of his sentence, turning years of pretrial detention into the defining part of the time he would serve. Even his release came wrapped in strict control. On October 26, 2023, Robert Allen I left prison under heavy supervision. 20 years of probation, a protected home address, weekly phone calls with his probation officer, required face-to-face meetings every 6 weeks, and a court order permanently barring any contact with Onfroy's family. Public life was off limits. Attention was not supposed to follow him. His name was meant to fade into the background, not return to headlines. For a time, that seemed to happen. Most people moved on, and the case drifted out of everyday conversation. Everything changed in October 2024. Inside Martin Correctional Institution in Florida, where Boatwright was serving time after his conviction, he somehow gained access to his phone and got onto Instagram. What appeared online carried the same unapologetic attitude that had defined his behavior from the start. It echoed the same cold confidence he had shown ever since the day he fired 3 shots at the neck of a 20-year-old. In that post, he also insisted that he was not an evil person. The reaction was immediate. Onfroy's mother answered publicly. Supporters who had followed the case since 2018 were suddenly pulled right back into it.
with every memory resurfacing at once. Video clips and screenshots spread across YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, reaching two very different groups at the same time. People encountering Boatwright's name for the first time, and others who had never stopped thinking about him. What was supposed to stay buried was suddenly everywhere again. A case that had gone quiet snapped back into public view, not because of a court filing or a new legal twist, but because of a single post that reopened old wounds and reignited a story many believed was finally over.
You turned a robbery into murder. And on that day, when you stood there and fired that weapon, you didn't just end one life. You effectively ended 5 lives. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. From here, you will go and be placed in a cell.
The irony was impossible to miss. The very person undone by his own digital trail, phone searches, location data, and Bluetooth links tied to a getaway car, was now once again turning to a phone, this time from behind prison walls, to project his mindset to the outside world. A month later, Dedrick Williams shifted tactics. In November 2024, his legal team submitted an appeal brief that tried to revive a headline-grabbing theory from the original case, that Drake, the Toronto rapper whose feud with Onfroy had received heavy attention during the trial, should be looked at again as a possible alternate suspect. Their argument leaned on an Instagram post and the long-running tension between the two artists, claiming it created enough uncertainty to raise reasonable doubt. Yet none of that was new. Drake had already been subpoenaed during the original proceedings. A judge had already released him from further involvement. Investigators had clearly stated that no celebrity played any role in the crime. Court testimony also pointed in the same direction. During the proceedings, Allen said under oath that no one outside their group was involved. That statement left little room for the theory pushed in the appeal. Most importantly, the filing did not introduce any fresh evidence. It repackaged an old claim without adding anything that changed the facts already established in court. By early 2026, nothing had shifted in a meaningful way. The convictions still stood. Williams remained at Wakulla Correctional Institution, serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Boatwright's appeal met the same fate. His direct challenge, filed as Michael Boatwright versus State of Florida, case number 4D 2023-0975, was denied. In the end, the dramatic attempt to reopen old speculation failed to move the case at all. Florida's District Court of Appeal revisited the case in 2025 and shut the door on the key challenges. Claims involving separation from co-defendants were dismissed, and the court also found no issue with the strength of the evidence. In plain terms, nothing changed. The convictions remained in place, and the sentences did too. While that legal fight was being settled, Robert Allen's situation moved in a far less visible direction. In September 2025, he received approval from the court to travel throughout the United States for his job as a licensed CDL truck driver. Officials kept his address confidential. His probation stayed in effect, and there were no reported violations. No additional charges surfaced either. As of March 2026, he was still on the road somewhere in America, working while serving probation that runs until 2043. Months later, the case suddenly exploded online again, not because of a fresh court filing or a major new update, but because social media rediscovered it. Facebook pages, Instagram accounts, Threads posts, and X discussions began pushing old mugshots and recycled news footage back into public view. Many of those posts used attention-grabbing headlines claiming Robert Allen had been released after 5 years. That framing triggered immediate backlash. The problem was the timing. A large number of viral posts suggested the release had just happened in 2025, making it sound like a shocking new development. The reality was different. Allen had actually been released in October 2023, more than 2 years before the wave started spreading.
Public anger was genuine. The facts behind the timeline, however, were badly distorted.
Even so, the renewed attention brought the same difficult question back into focus, proving that even an old case can return to the spotlight the moment the internet decides to revive it. The hardest question in this case has never had a simple legal answer. It's the same one people have asked from the beginning. Did Allen truly face justice? From the prosecution's point of view, the logic is clear, and the record supports it. Lead prosecutor Pascal Achille summed it up during closing arguments with a line that stuck. Plans born in darkness do not come with innocent witnesses. When multiple people take part in a crime, the testimony usually comes from those same people. In this case, Allen became the key that unlocked everything. Without his account, the men behind the masks might have remained unidentified. Their exact roles could have stayed contested, and the case itself might have drifted into the kind of legal uncertainty that slowly weakens prosecutions. His agreement with the state was the tool that helped secure the sentences handed down to the other three. Viewed through a human lens, though, the story feels very different. Onfroy was only 20 years old. He was out shopping for motorcycles, carrying $50,000 that he had legally withdrawn from his own bank account. 4 men spotted his vehicle, verified who he was, purchased masks while he was nearby, and then waited in a parking lot for 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Once the moment came, they blocked his way out and robbed him at gunpoint. After the robbery had already ended, he was shot 3 times. Now here is the part that continues to unsettle people. One of those 4 men, the one who reportedly said the plan was a bad idea but still took the money, is not behind bars for life. Instead, he is somewhere on the road, driving a commercial truck. That may be the legal outcome. Whether it feels like justice is a very different question. In America today, only one of the 4 escaped the harshest outcome. The other 3 are set to spend the rest of their lives behind bars, sleeping on cold steel bunks. Robert Allen chose to speak. First, he opened up during police questioning. Later, he testified in court. Finally, he addressed the judge at sentencing, where his regret was viewed as genuine. By contrast, the other 3 stayed silent at every stage. No admissions, no visible remorse, no effort to explain themselves in any public setting. Now, the verdict, the sentences, and even that prison Instagram post have become part of the price tied to that decision. Allen's choice to talk came with a cost, and it was significant. Still, the price of saying nothing turned out to be far steeper for everyone else.